This is Thinking Positive, web series of interviews, which is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Canadian Foundation for AIDS Research and its many accomplishments. One of its board members of long standing is lawyer Patricia Olasker. Why did you get involved with CANFAR?
Well, you know, it goes back 19 years, so I think we're probably one of the oldest children in the CANFAR family. I was pregnant at the time with my son, and I was overcome, as many women are at that time, with this desire to give back. And I was looking for a way to make a difference. And of course, most causes are very well supported by the mainstream business community. At that time, 1994, CANFAR and AIDS were not at all a mainstream cause. And I thought that was an area where I could have an impact.
Well, and it was the #1 news topic. It was sort of the worst catastrophe in the world, but it wasn't getting the support of the business community.
Yeah, it was very newsworthy at the time, but it's interesting, the early days when we sought out sponsors, many people declined to be associated with the cause. Now that has, of course, completely changed, and I'm happy to report that. But as recently as the mid-90s, people were hands-off on the issue.
Now, you've been one of the most successful fundraisers for CANFAR with something that you started called AIDS Beat, dragging lawyers into this cause and making them have a great time.
Well, it has been a lot of fun. It began, the first AIDS Beat was 17 years ago, and it was a rather modest affair. We had 400 people. We forced them all to come, and we made $15,000. You know, this year, in our 17th year, we are looking to hit the $3 million mark in total for CANFAR, and we attract a crowd now of in excess of 1,700. So the growth story is just a phenomenon.
Well, it's been great to get the entire legal community as involved as you have.
Well, that's what has been especially satisfying about this, because we've drawn a large group of people together as a community around an issue, around a cause, around CANFAR, and I think that's been most gratifying to me.
Is it difficult to keep their interest? You know, has AIDS peaked and then waned?
I think it is getting tougher and tougher. There are always competing causes every year. It's very difficult to keep AIDS in the forefront, but one only needs to read the statistics to be reminded it's not over. There's still a fight to be fought, and in some ways it's more important now that those of us who are involved fight more vigorously because the army is smaller.
Mm-hmm. Do you find you have to make that case, you know, more vehemently every year to get the corporate dollars and to get people to participate?
You know, it's interesting. We essentially sell our sponsorships as a business proposition. At some level, we appeal to people's altruism, but in the main, we appeal to their sense of desire to be involved in the community that they serve, the opportunity to build profile within the community of lawyers and other participants in the legal business. And they like our business case, where 90 cents of every dollar we raise for AIDS Beat goes directly to CANFAR. That's a pretty appealing business proposition for a lot of sponsors.
Has the stigma from HIV/AIDS gone for the business community?
I think it is, in the sense that we seldom encounter a sponsor that says, good for you, like what you're doing, but we don't really want our name associated with AIDS. I think people now see it as a disease that affects the population generally, and it is much more mainstream cause. In many ways, that makes our task easier.
So for 19 years you've been involved. Why do you keep doing it?
Oh, it's interesting. In some ways, I consider it my baby, and I have enjoyed growing it. We change it every year. It remains interesting and a fresh challenge for me, and it's a different way to interact with the community that I work in. It brings a whole new dimension to my professional life.
And for the $3 million you've helped raise, when you think of the research that's been done and what you've helped further.
It's a good feeling, and so I tell other people I get perhaps more out of this than I actually put into it in terms of how I feel about what we've done.
Thank you, so much for all you've done.
Thank you.